Just been called out to an oil boiler fault. They reckon the photocell keeps shutting up. The first thing I've noticed is obviously the capacitor is leaking fluid, which is never good. They've cleaned the photocell, it does actually straight back up, but obviously we need to set the boiler back up because obviously there's a reason it's sucking up. But I'll change that capacitor. We'll have a look at the photocell. Somebody's took the cable in a bit wrong. It should go underneath and then back around. I will put some gloves on in a second. And basically what we need to do is set all the boiler back up because it shouldn't be setting the photocell up. There's obviously a reason. We'll have to take the combustion chamber apart, have a look how sooty it is inside, and go through the boiler that way, and we'll set it all back up. So I've just popped the burner out. That's obviously the blast tube. It is sooty considering it's not been serviced that long. So what we'll do is we'll clean it all back out again. We'll probably change the nozzle, clean the electrodes up, and check inside the combustion chamber and clean it all up. As I say, we will change that capacitor because obviously it's leaking juice. Unfortunately that's not the right capacitor, so we'll have to go and get one. I've got a second-hand one in the van, but I put the second-hand one on for the time being. These just unscrew. You can see what's happened to it, it's all leaked out. So I'll put my test one on and we will nip and get one. We'll pop back later and pop the new capacitor on. But we can get all the boiler set up at least and make sure it's all working safely for the customer. Right, so I've threaded the photocell back to underneath where it should be now, plugged it back into there. What we're going to do is we're going to change this nozzle, we're going to clean these electrodes, because you can see they reckon it got serviced last October, so it's only 4 months ago. It's already quite bad, really. So it's basically just a cleaning process. Obviously if you're not changing your nozzle, well, you should change your nozzle anyway. It probably didn't get changed when it was serviced, but obviously don't touch the tip because it will break it. It will make it not work properly. That's what I always got told anyway, because obviously you can get crap and stuff like that in there. So change your nozzle but don't touch the tip, and then we're going to clean the boiler out, make sure the baffle's nice and clean, and then set the boiler back up. I just need to pop back into town and get a new capacitor for it because I haven't got one, which is a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. So we've popped a new nozzle in there. We just need to clean these electrodes up, and then, as I say, I need to pop off and get a capacitor because I've not got the right one in the van, unfortunately. But I'll strip this down, make sure it's nice and clean, and then we can just set it back up. I'll probably change that hose as well because it doesn't look like it's been changed in a while either. So other than that, hopefully we should be okay on this one. Right, so we just took the combustion chamber apart. It's really sooty inside, not the worst I've ever seen, but you see all this soot stacked up. It's obviously not burning correctly, so it's going to take me longer now to sort this than it would have been if I'd serviced it in the first place. So just need to clean all these off, take all the baffles out, which are in tar. Let's see, considering this has only just been serviced, not brilliant, to be honest with you. All these just pull out. We need to clean all these off, and we might even put some soot buster through it if we need to. But yeah, not the best you'll ever see. So yeah, it's just a case of taking our time now, working through the boiler methodically, and then sending it all back up. So me and my mate were just cleaning all these baffles off. Obviously these are designed to deflect the heat up into the burner box. So you imagine your flames at the bottom, and this is directing the heat onto the sides of the combustion chamber. So I just need to finish cleaning out all this secondary. Obviously these are quite sooty, so we need to clean all them off and then get the boiler all set back up. It might be that the pump pressure's wrong, or it might be that the air's wrong, or it might be a mixture of both. So we need to work through methodically and just clean it all up and get the boiler working properly. Right, we've cleaned it all out best we can. It's not looking too bad inside there now. It's probably quite dark to see. Try and get an angle. We might need to clean it out again in a minute, depending if we can get the ppms and stuff down. But I've bolted this back on. You just tighten these up evenly. So yeah, we're going to put the burner back in. I do need to go and get a capacitor yet, but it probably will fire. And we'll start it back up and see if we can get it set up. Right, put my pump pressure gauge on because obviously we've got an issue with the combustion. It's actually set about right. It should be 8.5 bar according to the manual. So if you wanted to adjust that, it's just on that little screw down there. Just go tiny little turns though. So we're going to set the air and everything up on this boiler. We're going to let it run a little bit, make sure it's stabilised. We are going to put a new capacitor on it and change that hose as well. But I just wanted to see if it ran and see if we can get it set up. The analyzer point on this is here. We're going to do a smoke reading first to try and protect the analyzer. Just got the analyzer on charge there. And we will, it probably just needs the air adjusting a little bit. But we'll have a look at that. I'm sure we can sort it. So I've got all the boiler manufacturer's instructions up on the other phone, always referred to. So ideally we're looking for CO2s about 11.5. So it's actually not a million miles away, is it? So we will make sure it's all burning correctly. So it might just have been that it wasn't serviced very well, or the nozzle wasn't changed, or there was a faulty nozzle or something like that. But obviously we've set the pump pressure, we're checking the air and everything with the analyzer, so we'll just let that run a few minutes, and we're going to go and get a new capacitor for it as well, and hopefully we should be okay on this one. I'll show you what happens when you pull the photocell out. So as soon as we pull this out, the boiler should in a second go to lockout, he says. Should do. There we go. So in a second the boiler will go to lockout. There you go. So the boiler stops. So that's the safety control. We can cover that back in. In a second the boiler will reset. It might just take a minute. Just have to leave that a minute. Let's take that out because I don't want to damage my analyzer when it strikes back up. But so the boiler's reset. So all the photocell does is reading the light. So as soon as it can't see the light anymore, the boiler should go to lockout. I can do a full video or add this to the video if I get time today, how to test a photocell. But yeah, boiler struck back up, so we can pop the analyzer back in. And we should be good to set this up. So it's not too far out. We can adjust it a little bit if we want to, but it's not mega. You can see the colour of the sort of wet wipes, they started off white, so we've got quite a bit of crap out of it, to be honest with you. So it could have just been the nozzle on the phone's ringing. I can't remember what I was saying because the phone rang, but I'm more than happy. What we'll do is we'll do a certificate for it, we'll do a CD10 to keep the off-tech man happy, and yeah, I'm going to go get a new capacitor. It is working with it, but it won't last long, I don't think. And yeah, that should do it. What I'm also going to do is just check the condenser trap on these. It's just you have to take the lid off, then 4 screws out. I don't think the back ones will be done up because normally they don't get done up. So the back ones probably just be hand tight. I did service this boiler about 3 years ago, to be fair, and just clean that condenser trap out. It only take 30 seconds. But other than that, I'm happy. Well, I'm never happy, but you know what I mean. It should be fine. What I'll do is I'll leave the boiler switched on, and I'll pop back later when I'm passing and just check it again to make sure the photocell's not sorted up, and we'll change the capacitor, and that should be job done then. Alright, we just come back the next day. We just put the new capacitor on. The boiler's still working. I just checked the photocell. It looks nice and clean still, so hopefully this boiler's all fixed. As I say, it's been working for 24 hours now. No problems. The house is nice and warm, so all should be good, hopefully. So we just got to change this radiator. It's pinholed in the middle. This is just a cover. This lifts off. I already came and measured the radiator yesterday, so hopefully just lift this cover off, and then it should be a straight swap. There's two valves under here. I'll take the cover off again, and we should be good. Nice easy job, hopefully. So we just need to isolate our 2 valves. Just on here, so just turn that so it's all the way off, and then we'll open the air tap, make sure the pressure's gone out the radiator. Obviously your balance valve you should really turn back on to where it was before, so you really want to count the turns, but I think that was full open, so it's just a case of turning that off, and then we can just drain the radiator. Obviously it's got a hole in it anyway somewhere, so it should be easy enough to do. So just crack that nut there. We've held against ourselves the grips, and hopefully We shouldn't get too much water. Just got that diverting into the tray. So what I'll do, so I'll put these gun funnels on and we'll empty it outside. And we'll have to take the tails out to put back in the new radiator. But yeah, should be easy enough. So all we've done here is just tighten the plumber funnel on, so we can carry this out and empty it out outside. So hopefully it didn't damage any customer's property then. We've just got to do the same that end, and then we've just got to work out where the brackets go. It's the same width radiator going back in, so it should be okay. I'm not too sure why it's leaked. Whether there's not enough inhibitor or something like that in the system, or whether it's just a faulty radiator. We'll have a look. So what I've done is I've worked out the middle of my radiator, which is there. Just measured across to the middle of the bracket, which is there. And I've measured from the centre of the valve to the centre of the bracket, or the bottom of the bracket. So I'm trying to obviously work it so I don't have to alter the pipes. So it wants to be there. So that'll just go on the thinner setting so it lines up with the pipe. So something like that. We'll put a couple of screws in each, or 3 screws in each, just so it gets a good fix. And it's a block wall anyway, so we should be fine on that. And same that end, and then we can just drop the radiator on, connect it up. My mate's put the tails in just with Loctite. It should just be a case of tightening it up then, and that should be job done. So we just got the radiator dropped on. We put the plastic bits on the brackets, and you probably can't see now. Dead level, pipes are lining up perfectly as you'd expect. There's a cover to go on here. We just need to put the air taps in, tighten these up. I always put a little bit of JetBlue Plus on mine. You don't have to, but I always do. And then we should be good just to fill the system back up. And yeah, put the cover back on. Should be job done, nice and easy. So we've got the air taps in now. We just need to turn the radiator back on the same amount of turns that it was turned off. I think it was actually full open. It's probably the end of the run. And then just nip round and check all the other radiators, make sure they're still working. Top the inhibitor up, and that should be job done. Obviously we just got to put the cover back on this, but we'll make sure there's no leaks first. Apart from that, it should be done. So that's this job all done. We've got the cover drop back on. It's all nice and secure. Radiator's all heating up. It's got an autofill on the heating system anyway. So yeah, all should be good. Obviously it's a massive heating system, so the inhibitor levels will get checked yearly anyway. Putting 1 tub of inhibitor in a system with 60 radiators ain't really going to make that much difference. So yeah, that should be fine. It's all big 2.5 inch pipework in the boiler room, so hopefully should be okay. And we just need to have a tidy up now, and that should be job done. So I've wiped all the floor down, hoovered everything up. Always dries a little bit mucky in here, but because it's the type of floor. But we have wiped everything down. It's getting red hot in here, so hopefully everything should be okay. See that these are like low surface temperature. Just wipe the muck off that. We'll go over that again. They're like LSTC, you can't burn yourself, but it's like an oven in here now. So we'll get tidied up, and that'll be job done. Just been called out to a leak in the gents' toilets. Normally when you see a massive pool of water underneath the urinals, normally means the traps are all blocked and all the waste pipe. We've got a cleaning eye, and somebody's actually put only Durgo up there, so obviously it's been an issue for a little while looking at it. So we need to disconnect these traps. It's definitely a rubber glove job on this one, because these are horrible and the smell is horrible. So just disconnect these. Obviously they've been compression before, so they're probably blocked before. Hopefully we can just clean them out and get it working. It's got a systemizer up there, so you can just put a magnet on that little square and they do flush, so you can test them to make sure it is working. I'll show you in a second, and we should be good. I don't know if you guys can see in there, but that's how they go. They go absolutely solid. So I'm going to try and clean all of that out. I disconnected it. Somebody's obviously had this before, so they've disconnected it off there and off there. We can knock all this pipework out and clean all the traps out, and then we'll just try and get a rod down from that end. A bit of water hammer on the toilet as well, but not been actually asked to fix that. So yeah, that's all I'm going to do is knock that out and get it running again for So what we've done, disconnect it there. We've pushed the rod all the way through, and this is now clear. We just need to knock all these traps out best we can and try and clear these sections, and hopefully that should do this. Doesn't look like it's blocking the 2 inch in the ground, so hopefully, as I say, we can just put it back together. Good job you haven't got like smelly vision, because it stinks in here now. But I'll show you how to operate them urinal flushers as well. But nice easy job, they're just minging. Should be able to get these to flush just by pressing the magnet on. It's not quite tall enough. It should go like that, and then it should flush. So there's a little square above that circle, and then you can test all your work. So all we've done is put them back together. We've cleaned them all out. We've got a bucket full of delights. We just need to have a good tidy up of this floor, and hopefully just got to tighten them clips, put the screws back in the clips, and we should be okay. We'll let it fill and flush, and then we should be fine to go. So we've got that flushing now. What we'll do is we'll flush it a couple of times, make sure there's no leaks. We'll clean all this up, dry all this off, but it seems to be going down a treat now. Obviously before it was overflowing straight onto the floor. So I think we've done a bit of good anyway. We just need to make sure there's no leaks on the traps when we do the waste pipe work, and we should be A-OK. Just a grim job, and that's why you wear gloves. Right, I've just flushed this one more time and just put a couple of bits of paper towel down underneath. We're just checking all the traps aren't leaking. That one's actually got a little bit of water on, but that might just be what we spilled. So we're just going to check these aren't leaking, and then we should be good to go. We've dried all the floor up and everything. So once this flush is, we should be good. We've just been asked to attend to a leak on a basin. Normally what you'll find on these is water just running down. It can even be getting underneath the tap. So when you turn the tap on, you sometimes get underneath. So what I'll do is I'll isolate the water, disconnect it at the top, see if it's just gone on the washer, replace the washer and fix it that way. But I think it's just running down. You can see where it's been dripping, so hopefully this should be an easy job. Normally what it is on these, it's not actually the washer on the pipe, it's water getting underneath the tap. So what I'll do is I'll clean all this off, replace that washer. You see on some of these, where somebody's bodged a load of silicone underneath, that's obviously to stop the water running down the pipe. So what I'll do is clean all this up. I've disconnected this off here. We'll change the fibre washer anyway. If I can get that off, that should come off, he says. Replace that fibre washer, and then just I'll go and find a new washer for that in the van, clean all that, and then rebed the tap in. That should stop it then. What I always do is just clean everything up with a bit of steel wool, get this pipe shiny again, because it just shows you fixed the leak as well. So I'll put a new fibre washer in it, taking the old one off. We'll re-jet blue that up, and then just put everything back together, and that should fix it. Alright, that should basically be job done. The water's all back on. There's no drips. I've cleaned that pipe up the best I can, but it's not too bad. The tap's not dripping. Sometimes it can be where it's running down and under the tap. So, should all be fine. This job, somebody just siliconed the tap in, so I've managed to get it out, but we just got to replace the back nut. Nice and easy. So I've cleaned this thread up. All I've got to do is put this back in now with a brass back nut and tighten it back in and connect it back onto the flexi. Not the best, but be better than it was. That's all tightened up now, nice and solid. Should be okay. They're the wrong way round, but we didn't do that. I'm just putting a load of underfloor heating down this afternoon. It's quite a big area that I've got to fill. I've already put my vapour barrier down. I'm not going to film any of this. I'll probably film some of the manifold, but I've got to get all my pipes in today because the screeds are going down. So a bit under pressure on this one again as per normal. So it's just the life of a plumber really, always under pressure. There's not that many loops in here, there's just 3 loops to fill. There's a bit that goes around the corner as well. I've just got to finish my polythene around there. So yeah, that's what I'm doing this afternoon. It's probably going to take me probably 4 hours working here, I'd imagine. But we'll get it put down. Just using this Upanor stuff. Well, it's not Upanor, it's like fake Upanor, but similar sort of thing. So just work it into your drawing and get it put down. I'm pretty much getting there with this one now. Just got the last sort of loop to put in. It's always the last bit. I always start to feel it on anyway, especially my knees and that, but looking okay. Got it all worked in. It's taken me Been here about 3 hours or so far, so about an hour and a half. So I've probably got an hour and a half left. And then we just need to get it all pressure tested up, but looking okay, to be honest with you. I've only just got enough pipe to do this. As you can see the way I've done it, I didn't waste any pipe work. So I brought all them back to the manifold on the loop. So that was the 400 metre lengths. But when you've got like this, where it says a 95 metre coil, so fair enough, I should have had 5 metres spare. But like this one is 99.5. So in theory, we've only got half a metre spare. So if your room's slightly bigger than it shows, it ain't going to work. But I've just had to stretch it a little bit at the far end, just to 175 centres, just on the last couple. I don't think it'll make too much difference. It won't have to, because just had to fill the space. But it should be okay. There's not too much more you can do. So I just got to work this last little bit in, and literally I'll have 6 inches of pipe left on it. But yeah, hopefully, should all be okay. Now I just got to put this manifold in. This is where all my pipes come through. See how much pipe I had left. That is literally that last circuit I put in, and all these others, that's as long as they were. So I'll work it, it's fine. It's all the floors covered, so there's not been an issue. So on these manifolds, you've obviously got your flow going down here and your returns coming back. So it's just a case of joining all these up. We've got our pump and our blender and everything to put on. So they're dead easy really. And then obviously you just set your flow circuits up and stuff. But we'll run through all that when we do the commissioning. I'm putting a separate oil boiler in for this underfloor, because I'm also going to put an unvented cylinder in here and probably an accumulator because the water pressure is rubbish. So we'll sort all that another day. The reason I didn't put the manifold on first was because I was under pressure to get the pipes down. But now I've got a few minutes left of my day, I can just get all this manifold popped up really quickly, and we can get all the circuits filled up then. A little top tip with these is, I find, I shove my bender right in the hole, and you just want to form your bend, otherwise you end up kinking your pipe. So you just got to be super careful, because it will kink, this stuff, if you're not careful. So it's just a little top tip. It just makes it so it brings it up nice and smoothly. That's my manifold all put together. I'd have preferred it if my pipes would have come through dead straight, but sometimes when you drill in, if you drill too close to your other pipes, it can slip into the hole. So it's all underneath here. This will all be boxed in anyway, so it's not too bad. What I'm going to do now is fill and flush all my pipes out and pressurise it all up. It's better if you've got a pressure gauge on there, but they haven't actually set one. I'll have a look if I've got one in the van. So I always think they're on the wrong side as well, them valves. What I always do is put another set of valves on the flow and return into the manifold as well. So if you ever want to work on your pump or anything, or your blender, you've got a pair of lever valves here. So that's all in. It's not too bad. Obviously I haven't put the heads or anything like that on yet, but I'm just going to get the pump set up, and we'll get some water in it and get it filled up. So I've just got my pump set up. All I do is pump from the header tank, clean water in, pumps it into the flow, you wait for it to come out the return, and then you just basically blast all the air out of it. So it's just a case of doing one circuit at a time. There's only 3 circuits on this. I always take the little red dust cover off, so you can just open your circuit up all the way and then just blast it through. So it's dead easy, and then it just gets rid of all the air out the loops and everything. So I'll show you when we get going anyway, once we start to get pumping. So all that I'm doing now is sucking through the circuits and just letting all the air come out. So what I'll do is, I've actually got them all open at the minute. I just need to turn one off at a time and just get all the air out. You can see blasting around there. Try and do it one-handed without dropping the phone. It's going to be awkward. So all I'm doing is blasting the air out one circuit at a time. You see, it's probably coming back a little bit aerated yet, so you just need to wait for that to go clear, and then we just turn that loop off and then do the next one at a time. So at the minute I've just got it going around this M1, and then we'll open the other 2 up. Just hoping this hose doesn't fly out while I'm holding the camera, but should be okay. That's the basic principle of the task anyway. Right, so I've pressurised it all up with a pump. It's a little bit hard to film, but all you do is turn your return off, let your pump build up to pressure, and then just turn your flow off. So it traps the water inside the circuits. Just put these dust covers back down, and we should be good to go.